Hello and welcome to Pub Football, the second Pub Football of our Euros special. We thought we would hold back on doing this a few days so we could tie in the squad announcement, the first friendly against Austria, and any injuries that come out of a friendly against Austria. Unfortunately, that means we're doing it on the hottest day on the planet, so looking rubbish, sweaty, horrible mess. Anyway, I'm Miles, this is Jimmy. We're going to be with you throughout the Euros, talking about England. And like I said, Jim, should we start with the squad? 26 named. The only real surprise was, was four right backs a surprise, and was Bukayo Saka a surprise when you see who was left out? When Greenwood was announced as injured, especially, anyway.
Yeah, I agree. I think four right backs especially was a surprise at the time. I was shocked when he did name all of them. I did fear for Trent. When was it? Tuesday morning, looking at the squad, thinking, "Oh, hang on a second, he might miss out." Well, he's going to miss out now. So, yeah, we've struggled a little bit there. But Saka, yeah, fair play to him. He's had a great season for Arsenal. He played really, really well last night, which we'll come on to as well. And he's deserving of it, I think. Obviously, Ward-Prowse, I felt a little bit sorry for Ward-Prowse. He's had a good season, good at set pieces. One who maybe is a little bit unlucky, but all in all, wasn't far away.
You mentioned Trent Alexander-Arnold. We'll get back to that later because at the time we're filming this, it's been announced that he's out of the Euros, injured for 6 weeks with a torn quad after the game against Austria. But at time of filming, no replacement's been announced. I've got my phone. I will be checking as we go. But we'll either say who we think should be replacing him, or we will we'll react to whoever does get the call up into the squad. So in regards to the squad, there's been a lot of debate about Jordan Henderson and Harry Maguire. Now, they are both struggling with injuries. Harry Maguire and the rest of Man United boys have teamed up with the squad today. Jordan Henderson ruled himself out of the friendly, which I don't think's endeared him to some people. People think he should have maybe played 20 minutes or something at the end to get some fitness, but if he's not there, he's not there, and you don't want to risk, because it's new injuries that rule you out tournaments. I don't know if aggravating old injuries counts. So it's a sticky situation. But we both said when we selected our squad that we would take them with the extra players for 26. There, you think realistically, normally you get 2 or 3 players don't play anyway. There could be up to 6 players that don't play. I think they should be there for the leadership skills they have around the group and keeping everyone in check. There's been problems with breaches of COVID and just generally things like that in the England squad in recent times. It's those members you need to maybe rein them in a bit and say, hey, what are you thinking?
Yeah, no, agreed. As you say, we went through this last week. For me, they're always going to go, as you say, the experience of tournament football, the clubs they're playing for, the competitions they're in, they are massively important. I was a little bit concerned that Henderson didn't play yesterday. I thought he was a little bit closer to game time. But I think I saw something this morning that he had a bit of an issue. There's no point in risking him in a friendly against Austria. That doesn't really matter. The main thing is in about 2 weeks' time when it starts to get really serious. I'm pleased they're there. But yeah, let's get to the first game in one piece.
Yeah, you mentioned Ward-Prowse before. For me, yes, he's unlucky. He played every minute of the Premier League. Southampton weren't in good form. The argument people have been giving for him is set pieces, but we've got good set piece takers in the squad. Yes, maybe he's the best. But you can't be brought on to take a free kick. Like that's not how it works.
Yeah, agreed. And also I think Bellingham's performance last night, which again we'll come on to, was fantastic. And he's proved to me that, yeah, at 17, he can step up. And I was always a little bit worried that we might be a little bit short in that position. But he's proved that he's more than good enough. And we probably are going to be absolutely fine with him, Rice, Henderson in there, or Phillips as well. There's more than enough cover.
Well, let's get on to last night's game. 1-0 win over Austria at the Riverside Stadium in Middlesbrough. It's hard to evaluate in terms of where England stand before the tournament just because so many players were missing. The Man United contingent, like I said before, have linked up today. The Man City and Chelsea players aren't there yet. So the team that played wasn't a team that I think will take the field together in that formation with all those players at all at any point in the Euros. However, it is I guess, encouraging to see that the second string, and not all the players are second string, of course, but that a team that is weaker was still able to get past what was quite a stubborn opponent, regardless of. And I didn't think the performance was great. I thought it was a pass mark, but at least it was a win.
Yeah, agreed. It was underwhelming, wasn't it? There were real positives. I thought Saka was brilliant. Bellingham was great. I thought Grealish did well when he got on the ball as well. But as you say, yeah, it's a weird kind of 11, wasn't it? Obviously, with a lot of players who aren't going to the Euros, who still got game time. There's so many players to come back in. It's a real kind of weird preparation for a big tournament, isn't it? That we've only got one more friendly, and we're straight into it, and players haven't even played yet. And who knows what that starting 11 is going to be on that first game against Croatia at the moment.
I'm worried about the centre-halves. With Harry Maguire being injured, and we've said, is he even going to make a group stage game? Is he even going to make a knockout stage game? It's very murky as to where he's actually at in his fitness. I understand Gareth Southgate keeping his cards close to his chest because he doesn't want to cause panic, but that partnership of Mings and Cody isn't good enough, and it wasn't good enough. I thought Tyrone Mings actually in the first half at times bailed Connor Cody out slightly, but and here's the big but: Tyrone Mings can play well for a majority of a game. There were 2 moments in the first half where he had complete brain farts, brainless moments. The one that's not being covered as much is when he just completely stopped and Pickford played the ball out to him because he saw one of the England players down injured in the middle. Doesn't matter. Be ready to receive the ball and boot it out if you want it to go out. Don't just stop and let the ball go past you. The referee blew his whistle. Didn't have to. Wasn't a head injury. He could have let play on and England could have gone 1-0 down. The other moment, which is farcical, was ridiculous. Have you seen the forearm smash?
I have. I've seen it in very, very slow motion. It's just stupidity at its finest, isn't it? It's crazy.
That's not legal in rugby league. It's ridiculous. He's just blocked a runner off as he runs into the box by elbowing him in the face. If VAR had been in play, and I think it will be in the Euros.
It will, yeah.
1, it's a penalty. 2, it's a red card. And that could be really damaging for England. You say John Stones gets injured and you've got Cody and Mings. Mings does something like that. That's not only the rest of the game for 10 men with no centre-backs. That is also a suspension with no centre-backs. So he really needs to be told to wind his neck in because I'm worried that in a crunch game, that partnership could be playing or it could be Mings and Stones and something like that will happen.
You are right. It's the act of petulance, isn't it? Which I think he's had throughout his career, to be honest. He's always had that in him. And as you say, I'm quite worried because especially towards the back end of the game yesterday, we were panicking at the back. We were just smacking out of play. There's no one just putting their foot on the ball and calming everyone down. And it is worrying that we're coming up against a lot better opposition in the coming weeks. And if he's not on it and we're not on it, we're going to get exposed at the back. And it's great to have all these brilliant players going forward, but if we can't defend, we are going to be in trouble.
We're going to struggle. The best defences normally win tournaments. That's a fact. And I don't trust him. Which is what this next part of the conversation, I think, is going to entail. Because Trent Alexander-Arnold, really unfortunately, just one of those things. He pulled up injured. I don't know if that's because it's been a couple of weeks since the end of the season and he's played 90. I don't necessarily think that's the case. These things just happen sometimes in football. Muscle injuries, it doesn't matter how stretched you are. Occasionally, something goes. And, it's been a long season. He's played so many games and it happened and it sucks. But he's out. I've just checked my phone. We're not going to get a replacement confirmed until after the last warm-up game. Makes no sense. Actually, quickly, on the game, Lingard starting, I don't understand at all. Sancho didn't even get on the pitch. It made no sense to me whatsoever. I don't know if Sancho's struggling with an injury, but either way, no, sorry, I'm not having that. And then the other players came on, which was, it was fine. It happened. But again, left some of the players in the squad on the bench. It was weird. It didn't make much sense to me. But 2 players made their debut. 1 was awful. I thought 1 played really well. I thought Ben Godfrey had an absolute shocker. The first his first touch was to pass the ball back and almost score an own goal. And for me, his head went, and that was it. And he panicked through the rest of the game. That, for me, straight away rules him out of being Alexander-Arnold's backup. And he's the one that you thought maybe could have made the squad. A player who really impressed me was Ben White. I thought he came on in midfield, played really, really well. He started in a right back for the last couple of minutes, didn't really matter, but he looked composed, he looked confident. And now Alexander-Arnold's out, he's the player I would use to replace him. People will say Ward-Prowse for the midfield. People will say Ollie Watkins as an extra centre-forward. But I think with Rashford, we've got 3 centre-forwards. We've got players who can play false 9 if we need to. Centre-back is the place with an issue, especially if Stones picks up an injury and Mings gets sent off. I think we need another centre-half. And based on that performance, for me, it has to be Ben White.
Yeah, I'm going to slightly defend Godfrey here. Obviously, first game, you can't define a player on half an hour, but I understand once you make that glaring error in the literally his first or second touch, it just makes you go doolally slightly. And for the rest of the game, his positioning was poor. His composure was poor. His passing was poor. He didn't have a good game.
But we can't have that if he has to come on in a Euros knockout.
Oh, no, agreed. But again, he's had a fantastic season. You don't define him on 30 minutes.
No, I'm not saying he won't be an England international, but this tournament, for me, he's mentally he's not ready. He's not there.
That's fair enough. And as you say, it is a toss-up for me between a James Ward-Prowse and a Ben White. And as you say, we need a centre-half, to be honest. We don't need that extra midfielder. And I'd like Ben White. We didn't mention him last week. I don't know why. But he's had a blinder and he's had a very good season. And he can play in that midfield position. He can play at the back. He can even play at a wing back if need be. It doesn't matter. But he's very versatile and he's a good player. Do
you think that Southgate's going to start them all in the last warm-up game to try them out for one? It's a Southgate move. We've got all the players back. We need to work a formation. No. We'll just pick all the players who aren't in to choose one for the last spot.
It wouldn't be a bad idea to give them, I don't know, an hour. Just see how they get on.
No, it's a bad idea. It's a terrible idea. You need to play the players that are going to play together so that they learn how to play together.
But this is the whole point of this Euros. It's such a mess preparation. It's unbelievable. Like, we're going to go into that first game with no idea if we're playing 3 at the back, who's playing. It's just a mess. And I don't know what to expect, to be honest. I don't know what to expect against Romania. I don't know who's going to be playing. And I hope we really, really have a good start for the Euros, because otherwise we might be in trouble.
I've been calling for Bellingham to start. Do you agree now, or do you think we need the experience of more seasoned internationals? Even though, realistically, Henderson doesn't look like he's going to be ready. It's going to be him or Phillips, and Phillips has only got 3 or 4 caps, not many more than Bellingham. He's just a bit older.
For me, you start Bellingham. He's proved it in the big games this season. He was brilliant yesterday. The joys of being 17 and that good at football is unbelievable, isn't it? I'd love to be like that. But yeah, I would play him. I don't want us to be defensive against Croatia. We've got to go and give it a go. Yeah, I hope he does the right thing.
All right, that was Pub Football with Miles and Jimmy. I think we'll probably be back early next week, maybe Monday, once the last warm-up game has been played. Ridiculous. And the replacement has been announced, so I'd probably have a whinge about it, because it's not going to be a centre-half, is it? Thanks for joining us. One thing left to say. Cheers.